Have you ever watched a character you once admired slowly turn into someone unrecognizable? Someone you trusted suddenly exposing a darker, more toxic side? Because that's exactly what happened in Sullivan's Crossing Season 3, and honestly, I don't think the show will ever be the same. I mean, let's be real here. When Sullivan's Crossing first brought us Cal Jones, played by Chad Michael Murray, he was the picture-perfect romantic lead. Charming, steady, a man who felt like a safe harbor for Maggie Sullivan as her life in Timberlake grew more complicated. But then Season 3 happened, and suddenly that calm, stable man turned into something far more unsettling. Tell me this, have you ever noticed how quickly love stories on TV can shift from, "that's sweet," to, "what? This feels a little controlling"? That's the vibe we all got watching Cal in Season 3. And here's the kicker. It wasn't just a minor flaw. It was a full, on-character transformation that some fans are calling the most toxic change in the entire series. And the wild part, it all started with something small. Cal asking Maggie to move into his cabin. Harmless, right? A sweet gesture. No, because when Maggie hesitated, when she wanted to take things slow, Cal didn't listen. He didn't compromise. Instead, he gave her what was basically an ultimatum: move in with me, or this relationship is over. Think about that for a second. That's not love. That's control. That's manipulation. And that's the moment where I personally sat back on my couch and thought, oh no. This is not the Cal we knew before. But let's pause here, because this is where I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now. Did you see this shift in Cal coming? Or did it blindside you the way it blindsided me? I'll be reading your takes because honestly, this has divided the fandom like never before. And listen, if you're new here, if you love digging into the secrets and the darker turns that shows try to sneak past us, hit that subscribe button right now. Because trust me, we uncover the kind of truths about your favorite series that no one else dares to touch. Now, back to Cal, because the problem didn't stop with that ultimatum. Once Maggie gave in, once she actually moved into Cal's cabin, you'd think things would calm down, right? Wrong. That's when Cal's insecurities exploded. He couldn't handle being just one part of Maggie's new life in Timberlake. He wanted to be the center. The anchor, the only piece that mattered. And here's where it got even darker. He started convincing himself that Maggie wasn't really okay with giving up her Boston career. That she was lying to him. That her choices weren't genuine. Do you see the pattern? Cal wasn't just insecure. He was building a reality in his head where Maggie was the enemy. And when you live in a relationship like that, there's only one way it ends. But wait, it gets even messier. Because just as Cal's paranoia reached its breaking point, the show pulled its biggest plot twist yet. Maggie's secret husband, Liam, showed up in Timberlake. Yes, you heard me right. Maggie wasn't just hiding a piece of her past. She was hiding an entire marriage. Now let's stop here. Because if you're like me, you're asking the same question. Does Maggie keeping such a massive secret justify Cal's toxic behavior? I mean, think about it. His insecurities looked ridiculous at first. But then, suddenly, boom. Maggie really was hiding something. It's like the writers wanted to validate Cal's paranoia. But should they have? Or did they just destroy one of their best characters by forcing him into a corner he didn't deserve to be in? And this is where Season 4 becomes crucial. Because here's the secret no one wants to admit. Cal as we know him may already be gone. If the writers don't fix him fast, if they don't undo the damage, then what we'll be left with isn't the Cal we fell in love with. It's a toxic shell of him. A man too broken, too insecure, too manipulative to ever be that steady anchor for Maggie again. But here's the forbidden knowledge. The thing fans don't like to admit out loud. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the writers don't want Cal to be the perfect man anymore. Maybe they want to explore what happens when your so-called safe choice turns out to be just as dangerous as the life you tried to escape from. Think about it. Maggie left Boston. She left the chaos, the career stress, the complicated family dynamics. She came home to Timberlake looking for peace. But what if the writers are sending us a message? What if the truth is, there's no peace? Not in Boston, not in Timberlake, not even in love. There are always secrets, always fractures, always lies waiting to surface. And if that's the story Sullivan's Crossing is really telling, then Cal's transformation isn't just bad writing, it's a deliberate warning. Love, safety, stability, they're illusions. Illusions that can shatter the second you look too closely. So let me throw this question at you. What if Season 4 doesn't redeem Cal? What if, instead, they lean into his toxicity? Would you still root for him and Maggie? Or would you rather see Maggie break free entirely? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know how far you're willing to let this storyline go. Because here's my take. If Sullivan's Crossing keeps pushing Cal down this darker path, then Maggie may need to do the unthinkable. She may need to walk away from him completely. Not just to save herself, but to save him. Sometimes the only way to fix a broken person is to let them break on their own. And trust me, if that happens in Season 4, the fandom won't survive the fallout. Now let's dig deeper, because the rabbit hole goes darker than anyone expected. Cal Jones's shift in Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 wasn't just a small hiccup. It was a red flag waving in broad daylight. And here's the question nobody seems brave enough to ask: was this change a deliberate setup by the writers? Or was it the beginning of Cal's downfall that Season 4 might not be able to recover from? Think about it. Cal used to be the dream guy, right? The safe choice? The emotional anchor. But suddenly, he's no longer the man Timberlake trusted. Instead, he became that guy, the one who smiles on the outside but manipulates from the shadows. And when Maggie moved in with him, he didn't just test the waters of control. He cannonballed straight in. Now pause. I want you to imagine something with me. What if this wasn't just insecurity? What if Cal's transformation wasn't even about Maggie? What if the writers are planting seeds for a secret storyline, one that turns Cal from a romantic lead into a tragic cautionary tale? Because here's the real kicker, the Liam twist. That shocking moment when Maggie's past husband suddenly walked into Timberlake wasn't just a plot bomb. It was the kind of forbidden knowledge moment that rewires how you see every scene before it. Cal's paranoia, his manipulative push for Maggie to move in, his suspicion that she wasn't being fully honest. At first, we thought it was toxic insecurity. But now, what if Cal was right all along? And that's the scariest part. You see where this gets messy. Because when a character's flaws get validated, it doesn't just blur the line between right and wrong. It makes you question who the real villain is. Is Cal the problem? Or is Maggie's secrecy the silent poison in their relationship? Now I want to poll you. Yes, you watching right now. Drop a comment. Do you think Cal's toxic change is unforgivable? Or do you think Maggie's secret marriage justifies at least some of his paranoia? Because honestly, I can see both sides. And that's what makes this one of the most controversial character shifts in Sullivan's Crossing's history. And listen, if you've been following my breakdowns, you know this isn't the first time we've caught the writers red-handed pulling a stunt like this. Remember when I said in the last video that Timberlake's peaceful charm is a mask for some of the most chaotic storytelling on TV? Yeah, this is the proof. But let's go deeper. Because the Liam reveal doesn't just validate Cal's behavior. It also plants a dangerous seed for Season 4. Now that Liam is back, Cal's insecurities have a new target. And if you thought his toxic streak in Season 3 was bad, imagine what happens when he's staring down Maggie's literal ex-husband in the same small town. Here's a hypothetical for you. What if Season 4 doesn't save Cal? What if it pushes him further into darkness, turning him into the very thing he's been afraid of all along? The outsider Maggie eventually regrets choosing. That's not just character drama. That's a time bomb. Because when relationships in a show like Sullivan's Crossing crumble, they don't just collapse quietly, they explode, pulling half the town into the wreckage. And this brings me to the forbidden question nobody wants to ask: should Maggie and Cal actually break up in Season 4? I know, it sounds insane. They're the central couple, the supposed heart of Timberlake. But sometimes the bravest writing choice is letting love die so the characters can truly live. Imagine it. Cal rediscovering himself apart from Maggie, Maggie reclaiming her independence without being dragged down by his spiraling insecurities, and Timberlake finally breathing without their relationship drama suffocating every corner. Would it hurt? Absolutely. Would it make for one of the boldest twists in the series? No question. Now, let's have some fun here. Be honest. How many of you watching this already saw the Liam twist coming? Don't lie. You had that weird gut feeling Maggie wasn't being 100% honest, didn't you? I know I did. And yet, when it actually happened, I was sitting there like, no way they actually went there. That's one of those moments where you can't help but hit pause, grab your phone, and text your friend, "Did you just see that?" But it also left us with something else. A bitter aftertaste. Because while the Liam twist was shocking, it doesn't fix the damage done to Cal's character. In fact, it doubles it. Instead of rebuilding him, it weaponized his worst qualities. And let me just throw this wild theory out there. What if Liam isn't just a side character? What if he's the fuse that blows up Timberlake in Season 4? Think about it, his sudden arrival, his connection to Maggie, his mystery past. That's not a random cameo. That's a setup. And if Cal continues down this toxic spiral, Liam might be the one who finally exposes how broken things really are.